Welcome to our Right Now Tarot reading. This is a new series I started where we're using the tarot, but also connecting to our spirit guides for messages that you need to hear right now, right now. And what I'm going to do is use the Tarot of Dreams, the Gilded Tarot, and the Romance Angels if love comes out. And I'm going to take three cards from each and let's see what your guides want you to hear. So let's go ahead and give this a quick shuffle. By the way, everything is always pre shuffled. And these readings are for the collective. Trust your intuition, especially because we read through our spirit guides. So your spirit guides they know you're here. All right. So we have them ready. And then let's just do the Gilded Tarot real quick. Cut. And we shall begin. So, what does the collective need to know right now? And why? Five Pentacles. Interesting. Five of Pentacles it's interesting because I feel like people have been going through very difficult things, different things, but like each of them major. The Five of Pentacles can speak of something that happened outside of your control. It's kind of like being thrown out into the cold. And temporarily, it is difficult energy. It can feel like a tower. Again, something that happened outside of your control. But I always feel like there's a reason. This is a five. It's talking about change. The Hermit. Interesting. First of all, card of Virgo. And, what's interesting is 2025 was um, represented by the Hermit. And I'm saying that because it's sitting next to a five. And I feel like for some of you, this power moment type energy, I feel like it's already happened. And for some of you, it may have thrown you into, what I'm just going to call the dark night of the soul. This is when you're seeking the light. And I have to say, sometimes it's not until we're brought down to our knees that we start seeking the light. The Hermit is the collective wisdom of all your lifetimes. It is the wise old soul, the sage. And it is you. It doesn't matter what sign you are. It's talking about your spirituality and finding the light after the fact. And it's a nine. Nines to me mean final reflection. So again, some of you, I feel like something happened in 2025 and you're recovering from it. Okay. And then we have the moon, card of Pisces. Interesting because it's the opposite sign to Virgo. So there could be something with opposite signs also. But anyway, so this is the card of Virgo, ruler of Cancer. The moon, well, the moon can certainly speak of uncertainties, which mirroring the Five of Pentacles, I would get that. I understand that. And for some of you, I feel like you may have been in reflection for a little while. And it could be scary, like taking the next steps, because I'm not sure where it's going to lead me. But remember, the moon can also be very dreamy energy. So let's take the Gilded Tarot with them now. Look at that, the Hermit again. So the Hermit is all over that Five of Pentacles. And you know what's interesting is this Hermit is in the cave. And so this Hermit is reflecting, seeking that light. And the Hermit is looking at the Five of Pentacles. And now we have the Hermit who is now emerged from the cave and is sharing that beacon of light outwardly. It's almost like, I got to tell you what I've learned. I feel excitement. Interesting. Right after what felt like a tower, now I'm feeling excited. Like I found the wisdom that I needed. Eight of Cups. And so I move on. And so I move on. This is about, well, number one, it's an eight. So eights are always about a new beginning. It's also the number of infinity. And I feel like it's just saying that you never walk alone. Even when you feel alone, you're truly not. And there could have been, it's hard to say it this way, but there may have been a lesson within that Five of Pentacles. And now, with the Hermit, sharing his beacon of light outwardly, and the Eight of Cups, this is about finding emotional clarity. And this person is heading towards the Nine of Cups, inner fulfillment. Some of you, I feel like this is what it's been about, is finding that inner fulfillment within yourself. I feel like this is the type of fulfillment that no one else can give you but you. Ah, beautiful Knight of Pentacles. So, this night, slow moving night. But this night moves slow with purpose. This night tells you that when the timing is right, this is when I come in. And what I bring is a pentacle. And this pentacle is meant to truly enhance your life. It may start as a seed, it may need your nurturing, but if you do nurture it, it will only grow and blossom. This night wants to change your life, wants to help you change your life. And this ace that the night brings in, I feel like you can use it for really whatever you need it for. And I feel like the night knows what you need. Again, I come at the right time, not before, not after. So now that we're seeing him, I feel like what it's saying is, for some, it was important to find this emotional clarity. It was important to truly go within. And I know some of you were like forced to go within. You know what I mean? Like, what else was I going to do? But you did. You did. And I definitely feel like you came out of that energy, of that reflection, with more emotional clarity than maybe you've ever had. The Knight of Pentacles under the moon now definitely makes me feel a dreamy energy. Like whatever this night, well, I know what the night is bringing, but let's say the timing, I feel like it's going to be something of dreams, like truly. And, like I feel some of you give yourself a pat on the back. You've been through something difficult. You went within, you figured it out. It looks like at least you're walking away with enough emotional clarity. Remember, we don't need to know why every cup is fallen. Some are free will. You know what I mean? But it's really about like what these fallen cups have done to you. and the way it's made you feel. And this is why, with the reflection over these cups, again, doesn't have to be all of them. It's kind of like I have to know where I've been, or I have to know who I've been with, so I know what I now want and what I don't want. This night telling you I come in perfect timing. Well, it makes sense because, again, the hermit has now left the cave, and that means the hermit has found the wisdom. It doesn't mean I know everything, but I know enough. Herman's the beacon of light is illuminating your emotional house. But look at the hermit all around it. Double Virgo, by the way. All right, I want to see what's on the bottom of the decks. We have the Queen of Wands. And we have the King of Swords. Interesting. Are they a couple? Were they a couple? King of Swords can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, of course. Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But it's interesting because none of them are out on the table. Let's see what's below. There's the moon below the queen. Four of Wands below the king, a marriage card. Or, it's called the marriage card. I feel like it's more about a connection. So it feels like a connection may have come to an end. And granted, I can definitely see it wasn't easy. And I'm going to bring the crystal vision out for a second because though I want to make these kind of short and sweet, I don't want to leave you hanging either. So I just want to look at a couple things and then we will let it be. Whispering words of wisdom, let it be. Justice. Interesting. Over the Five of Pentacles, i.e., someone cut ties. May have been this king. Male or female, by the way. But here's the thing. I feel like if you're very honest with yourself, the energy wasn't balanced. There was something that wasn't balanced. With the queen have the moon. It's almost like the queen is dreaming of better times, a better life. And this is a queen who, if she's passionate about something, she's going to move towards it. But listen, even she can get stuck. Even she sometimes needs to stop and allow healing to take place. So I do feel like ties were cut. Doesn't have to mean a divorce. But by the way, it can also talk about like a karmic connection. And if that is the case, then there are lessons to learn. And this person may have been like a stepping stone. Yes, that's what it is. It feels like this person is a stepping stone to what this night is bringing in. So now I really do need to know, or at least look back and tell myself, like, okay, so I know that I can't deal with that type of energy. And if you are finding this inner harmony, remember, it's also about fulfillment of wishes. Okay, we have two cards standing out. Oh boy. All right, we have the Eight of Pentacles, and then, hello, Knight of Cups. Unexpected couple fulfillment over the moon, with the Knight of Pentacles right below it. So this night feels like it may be bringing in some type of love. Or, it's fulfillment for sure. And the Eight of Pentacles over the Hermit now, like taking everything you have learned and maybe creating from that. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're someone who's gone through the dark night of the soul and you've come out the other side. I feel like that is our soul's purpose. Is like once we learn a difficult lesson, is then to help others. Yet, it doesn't have to be in a business form. I feel like naturally, when you are balanced, let's say that, when you find that balance again, because you will, people will probably naturally just come to you for advice. It is honestly like some of you, it's like you're finding yourself again. So even though you had to deal with something difficult, cutting of ties, it's, it's, how do I say this? It's kind of like a backwards compliment in a way. Um, but I feel like it's a stepping stone. And then the Knight of Cups over the moon, King of Cups. Um, Look at me taking a card now on every card. I wasn't planning on doing that. Oh, look at that. All right, so the Seven of Wands came in reverse, which is good. And then look at the Knight over the Knight. And how interesting, because this Knight is coming into the reading, and this Knight is heading towards the future. So I feel like at this point, you receive what this Knight is talking about, and now you're taking that gift or whatever it may be, and now you're looking forward, hmm you're looking, what's the word I want to say, like all of a sudden I feel like there's a chance my future may be bright after I thought this is it, this isn't it, this is just the beginning of, I definitely feel some of you have gone through a karmic soulmate, and they're not meant to last. And there's always a lesson. And by the way, and it may just be like you finding balance. Doesn't have to be a hard lesson. I mean, the situation's difficult, but the lesson oftentimes is much easier than our mind thinks it's going to be. So I feel like you find balance. The Eight of Pentacles over the Hermit. The Eight of Pentacles, by the way, an eight, also new beginning. So it's like taking that wisdom and for some of you, creating from it. I just feel like that's the way it is. This Seven of Wands in reverse, it's interesting because I think, well, I know I've only done one other right now reading, and I feel like this came out in it. This is putting down your defenses. This is telling you what was isn't worth fighting for because you just don't know about what's yet to be. Two guardian angels here now, and then the King of Cups. But over the enlightened hermit, it feels like you're lifting vibrations, to be honest. And that's why I feel like the healing part of it And when I say healing, what I really mean, especially in this situation, like if I'm very honest with myself, I feel like there were definitely red flags, there were clues, and this is not to judge you because we all get them and we all ignore them until we learn not to. Um, but yeah. But as I say that, I also feel this this was meant to bring you balance. You something was unbalanced. Love is what it feels like. Could have been one-sided. And now look at this king so close to this queen. And she's also carrying the energy of the moon. So I feel like some of you, you're changing partners. But there's no need for you to be in any type of defensive energy any longer. There's no need to defend oneself, stand one's ground. I don't, you know what I feel like? I feel like you don't have to carry that energy because you now carry the wisdom of the hermit. And that, to me, it's like with this emotional clarity and finding the light of the hermit, that's what this night was waiting for. But now we have two nights. That has got to be soulmate energy. So I'm going to bring in the romance angels real quick. And I really just want to look at, well, I want to know about this Knight of Cups that's coming in. It's either this king or this queen, depending male or female. All right, so I want to know about this Knight, please. All right, let's do its face up first. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate, first of all, your soulmate, there we go, may differ from your usual type and expectations. So, this is a good thing because I feel like what you've been through, I don't want to repeat that. And I feel like this is talking about, I feel like there are different types of soulmates, karmic soulmates, learning soulmates, healing soulmates. Well, I feel like this is partly a healing soulmate, but potentially your forever soulmate, especially because the Knight of Pentacles is here twice. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Oh my gosh. Isn't it funny? This is the only one that came face down. Almost like it didn't want to be revealed until the end. Yes, this is your soulmate. If nothing else, I feel like it gives you something to look forward to. It's very clear what it's saying. At least I find it's very clear. Like, again, some of you have gone through something outside of your control. Um, and I feel like if you're still in, let's say, the Five of Pentacles energy, this is a great roadmap, so to speak, of at least giving you a glimpse of the possibilities. But listen, this night, again, who says I come at the right time? Look what he's bringing. Your soulmate. This is why we have two nights. Two Knight of Pentacles. It's like soulmates are collaborating to bring two together through the Knight of Cups. And I love that we have the moon because I feel like that means it's more for this queen than the king. I feel like the king is the one who threw down the gauntlet. But now I feel like the queen, and I feel like this is the perfect queen to represent what we're seeing, because this is someone who does not let fear, doesn't mean she doesn't have any. She doesn't let it stand in the way of her potential. This is someone, if she feels passionate about it, she's going to follow it. And I love the Seven of Wands right in the middle in reverse, because I feel like what it's saying is this is calm, this is loving, this is balanced, this is everything you deserve and everything they deserve. This is two people who each had to go through their own lessons to then come together in what feels like divine timing. So, that person who may have thrown down the gauntlet, well, truth is, they did you a favor. I know you don't feel it when you're in it, but I can see that once you start moving towards the future, everything changes. Okay, I'm going to let that be, guys. But, I mean, hello, soulmate. Hello, two guardian angels. Do I think that they are in cahoots? Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, this Knight of Cups is unexpected. But in a way, you should be able to feel it. Like you'll just get this feeling. Something's about to happen. Keep an open mind. If you when this comes in and you start to have these feelings, trust them. Doesn't mean you have to move quickly, but this is definitely your soulmate, and I feel like this is your ultimate soulmate. And it's interesting because I feel like after a karmic soulmate, usually that's when the loving soulmate comes in. And here they are. After you do this clearing and just get excited for the potential. That's the main thing. All right, I'm going to let that be. Short but sweet. I love you. I thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.